Like many RPGs, Watch Dogs 2 has a skill tree, and using research points, you can get many different skills throughout the game, like being able to control cars, distracting people to sneak by them, or making the ground explode. But what if you didn't use any of them? Can you beat Watch Dogs 2 without research points? Research points aren't unlocked until after the intro, so the intro was the same boring task of downloading the thing and hacking the other thing and then jumping down the hole. I meet the members at the hideout and we reach the unavoidable part of the game where we fail the challenge. Because we're still in the tutorial, the game shows us a skill tree and forces us to unlock a skill. So I picked a very specific one that lets me control certain machines. This is because later in the game, we are required to use a machine to progress. Although I picked this, I will only use it when required. After gracefully completing Walk in the Park, we traveled to a movie studio to steal some emails and the script for the movie to boost our reputation with the public. This mission was made easy due to the stun gun and the melee attack. Stealing the knockoff Knight Rider car was nothing, although the cops had a bit of trouble navigating this bridge. After racing through the city in the cybercar, I went to a building to download some data because this is Watch Dogs 2, and we stole this celebrity back from the cult, and he told us of the church's misdeeds. I didn't want to play the game stealthily because that's what I did in my last run, so for this playthrough, I cranked the difficulty to max and went in guns blazing. Surprisingly, this went very poorly, and I died many times. And after finding the secret lift, we broke these rocks and got out of there. Then I looked online for money bags because I needed money for the quadcopter. And while I was looking, an armored truck appeared, which could be looted for a ton of money. The problem was that when you pick up the bag, the police immediately come after you, and you end up getting a 5-star wanted level, but in the end, I got it. After that adventure, Wrench wanted us to get a truck surrounded by bad guys. I usually use the ability to control the truck and drive it out, but I can't because no research points. Thankfully, these guards have less situational awareness than I do, because I only killed like 3 and then drove it out. Wrench found a new toaster, and then we went to the bane of my existence in the last run, sitting in this little blue circle for what felt like 6 minutes, because it was a pain. But it's okay, because I did end up finishing the download and leaving After redoing the whole download, I left, never to return. And then Marcus forgot how to enter a car. After sending some woman to the Shadow Realm, I broke into the CEO's office to meet the main bad guy, Dushan, and had to escape the police. Then we recruit one of my favorite characters, Ray. Horatio and I kidnapped a bus to take to Noodle Park. This mission is meant to be done stealthily, and needless to say, that did not happen. Because of the boring bus ride at the beginning, and the annoying linear path you must take, this is probably my least favorite mission in the game. Although this person dying made me laugh. Nevertheless, we downloaded the thing and solved Horatio's coworker problem. We met up with Lenny, who ransomed us with information, and DedSec wanted to sabotage their ATMs. Just as a check-in, this is what my skill tree looked like. And I called in one of the fastest and best cars in the game to get there. But then I saw the real best vehicle in the game. I disabled the first one, and then blew up half the area with one explosion, and then finished the rest of them off with the overpowered silenced pistol. With no one around to distract me, I can easily get the last 2 ATMs. The crew went to a karaoke bar to celebrate Lenny's defeat, but we soon discover someone spying on us, and it's none other than the FBI. A cool trick you can do for this mission is to take the truck and drive away, and then lose the cops. I went to the park of bad news and misfortune to see Horatio be kidnapped. He didn't make it very long after that, and we end up taking revenge on the gang who killed him. The biggest hindrance for this challenge is not being able to use the distract ability, because for most of my playthroughs I often use this to breeze past the guards. But other than that, this challenge seems to be pretty doable, but I'll get to why it's not later. On the mission where you have 3 different targets to kill, the last one seemed to have the strongest armor not known to man. All that was left was the boss. Usually I consider this to be the easiest mission in the game because all you have to do is call the police and that would count it as being completed. But the police ability needs research points, so I had to go in to neutralize him. And shockingly, the hardest difficulty is very difficult. Without any abilities, this is by far the hardest mission in the game. I guess the guy from the last mission gave his armor to this guy, because I pelted him with bullets and he never went down. What finally worked was sneaking in and taking him out with melee attack, which I guess should have been my first thought. Then I went to the radio tower, Wrench got kidnapped, and I got the goods from the FBI. Ray said I had to break into SpaceX headquarters and plant something on their rocket. He never said what, but I assume it's fine. As we all know, DedSec's favorite thing is data, so I had to go steal the world's biggest cube of data from an oil rig. Normally, this mission is simple. Kill all the bad guys, and bring the cube to the top so that Josh can airlift it out in his drone. However, the game had other ideas. I couldn't tell you what happened, but all I know is that I completed the mission. After that baptism of fire, I did the boring robot mission of making the EMP and seeing Wrench leaving his son. Next is Big Robot Spider mission. Unfortunately, these guards seem to be paid more than the small gangs that I've been fighting, because it took me 4 deaths and some amazing acrobatics to finally get past them. Then I did spider things and blew up some stuff. Wrench and I hacked into this normal, politician's penthouse to download some more of that sweet data. My Watch Dogs 2 tip of the day is to not fall off cranes. This guy was already destined to fail when he decided to carry a grenade. I showed this guy my dance moves before trying to kick him and falling off the crane again. But then I finally got the download and left the penthouse. Remember at the beginning of the video, I said, so I picked a very specific one that lets me control certain machines. This is because later in the game, we are required to use a machine to progress. This mission is what I was talking about. You have to move a shipping container and using the crane is the only way to do it. My first playthrough of this challenge, I picked a different skill and got here before realizing I needed the skill to control machines. So I restarted, and this is the run that you're seeing. This is the only skill that is required to progress. So no, you cannot beat Watch Dogs 2 without research points, but we're still going to continue. One of the last things we need to do is destroy some ATMs. This mission was very difficult because normally you can use the drone and explosives to take them out, but the explosives count as a skill. And playing on the hardest difficulty, I could only be shot a few times before dying. After a lot of trial and error, I killed all the guards and destroyed the ATMs. And after 30 minutes of what is usually an easy mission, we can finally start the last mission of the game. This mission isn't important until we get to Marcus, but playing as Wrench is the pinnacle of this game, and I think he left the oven on or something. Finally, we reached the final stage of the game, but as I showed in my last video, the final mission is really nothing special. Hack 2 things and go down to Dushan's secret basement to turn off his control. The only hard part was leaving, though thanks to the air shotgun, which is part of one of the DLCs, it made it easier. And after we confronted Dushan, I finished the game, and I did not beat Watch Dogs 2 without research points.